Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. The jig is up. Yeah. I came too far, I ain't giving up. Hey. I had to cut what was weighing me down, and then when you grow, they say that you switching up. Hit a perimeter. Defending the fort, we crushing the visitors. I got it locked, ain't taking a prisoner. Thought it was sweet until they chin hit with a finisher. Heartbreak, Nicky, I'm voiding the slips. I'm raising the stakes, enjoying the risk. Injecting my veins with ice, as cold as it gets. I live for this shit. Die as a legend, I ride with aggression. I lost in the past, it's fine, it's a lesson. I'm loading the clips, I fire the weapons and taking what's mine. It's time for redemption. Yeah. Too far, I ain't giving up. Hey, I had to cut what was weighing me down, and then when you grow, they say that you switching up. Hit a perimeter. Defending the fort, we crushing the visitors. I got it locked, ain't taking a prisoner. Thought it was sweet until they chin hit with a finisher. Heartbreak, Nicky, I'm voiding the slips. I'm raising the stakes, enjoying the risk. Injecting my veins with ice, as cold as it gets. I live for this shit. Die as a legend, I ride with aggression. I lost in the past, it's fine, it's a lesson. I'm loading the clips, I fire the weapons and taking what's mine. It's time for redemption. Yeah.
Matt,
what's going on, Tim?
It's been a while. What's going on, guy?
Yeah, we're ready to launch the 2026 Foul Ball Talk YouTube show, and we are live on X and Facebook. Tim Malarkey, Matt Trigger. We have a very special guest tonight, Tim. He is one of the guys, the up-and-coming stars at 105.7 The Fan. He is the Swiss Army knife. He does literally everything that the station asks him to do.
He's been live on the drive at 5 the last 2 days.
Yes, he has. Cordell Woodland is joining the show. Welcome, Cordell.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Cordell, we had to bring you on, start us off with a bang this year. The man inside the locker room himself in the flesh.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's that time of year. The weather is starting to act like it wants to get right these days, which lets you know baseball season is right around the corner, a week away from opening day now. So, yeah, really excited. A lot of optimism around this Orioles team this year. Improved roster, improved pitching staff, new manager. I mean, I think there's a lot of excitement around this team.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Yeah. I'm a lot more optimistic at this time this year than I was last year. A lot of people have made a lot of hoopla, Cordell. Let's get your opinion on. We hear you every day on the radio, but it's a pleasure to have you on the show with us for our audience. The bullpen is obviously a question mark for the team, but a lot of the noise this offseason was focused on the starting rotation. So your thoughts on the new outlook with the addition of Shane Baz, Chris Bassett, Eflin's returning. You have Kramer still coming back. Rogers and Bradish are like that 1A, 1B for the rotation. Where do you see the rotation this year going into the season just a week away?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's much improved. I think you could say that based off where they were last year. Number one, they're healthier. To have Bradish be able to be a part of this rotation going into opening day, that's a huge boost. And you really want to see what he's capable of. We've been able to get a taste, and even seeing him come back last year, I was really intrigued to see what that would look like. You never really know with these pitchers when they're coming off these long hiatuses and how long it's going to take them to get into a groove. But for him, I mean, he kind of just jumped right back on the bike, and he looked like Kyle Bradish immediately. So really, I think it was encouraging to see him finish the season strong and healthy, being a big part. Getting Baz, Shane Baz, that was, a nice addition to this rotation. He's got the upside. You wonder what, they seem to be really high on him, and rightfully so. I mean, I think at times in his career he's shown that he could be one of the, really good young arms in the American League. Obviously, the Tommy John surgery and coming off of that, you got to give him some time. And last year, playing in that minor league ballpark, you just really don't know what to put stock into and what not to. So I'm really intrigued by him. He's definitely exciting. Chris Bassett, I think the best thing about him is he brings stability. And that's what you didn't get from the rotation last year, whether we're talking about production or being able to hit the post every fifth day. He brings both of those. You know what you're getting out of Kramer. You know he's going to have his ups and downs, but can't think of. Am I forgetting somebody? Eflin. We got to figure out. Is he going to start the year on the IL? I know he's starting tomorrow. I'm curious to see what their plans are for him. But the fact that we're talking about them having if they do decide to have a 6-man rotation, I mean, every night you think you have a chance. I'm not saying that they'd be favored in every night, but I feel like going into each one of these games with this rotation, they've got a puncher's chance.
And that you segued me into my question that I was going to bring up for you, is because it's a lot of debate right now. You guys talk about it on the show. It's everywhere. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. You see it everywhere. Are the Orioles going to go into this year right off the rip with a 5-man rotation and Eflin is your odd man out? You ease yourself back in. No need to rush. Or does he make it to camp? You have 6 starters, but then you're already down a spot in the bullpen, which we already know is, if you look at the offense, if you look at the starting rotation, the bullpen sticks out like a sore thumb as that weak spot. So can you afford to have one less arm in your bullpen? And, I think the answer could be yes to both. I will not be surprised if Eflin breaks camp and they have a 6-man rotation. I also wouldn't be surprised if he hangs out in Florida for another 2 or 3 weeks and they ease his way into, the situation. So either way, I think it's a plus that we're talking right now, it's March and we have 6 starters. It's been a while.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's a good problem to have. And, the good thing about this situation is they can go whichever route they want, as opposed to maybe, Eflin's bat telling them which way to go. It seems like the fact that he's starting tomorrow means it's, that's a positive. That means something's going right. He's available. He's feeling good. He feels like he can go out there and pitch. So, it seems like they're in a luxury situation right now to where they can kind of really sit down, assess this, and go about it however they want. Do you want to add an extra arm to the bullpen, where there are a lot of question marks in that bullpen right now? But on the flip side, if you do decide to go 6-man rotation, in a sense, that could kind of help your bullpen as well, because, the thought is you're saving your rotation short. It'll be a little bit of a wonky schedule, and they'd have to work that out with all the guys. But I think in the long run, you would imagine that it's going to save the bullpen somehow. Hopefully, these guys will be able to go deeper into the games. Now, I think even if Eflin does start the year on the opening day roster, you probably aren't going to see a whole lot of him anyway. Like, even when he does have his outings, I don't know how deep he'll really go to start the year. And of course, that's the case for all these guys as they're being stretched out. But him specifically, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see him go as long as some of the other stars.
Yep.
That's fair.
I was going to say, I totally agree. I think they're going to ease his way. And even if he does break camp, then it's still going to be an ease the way mentality for him. Even if he is getting in there every 6 days, 2 or 3 innings, that's a stretch. Cordell, we only got you for a little bit here, so I need to get in there and dig deep. I'm sure you've been thinking about it. All of us sports nerds, baseball guys, have been thinking about it. I'm going to need your prediction as far as record, most valuable Oriole, and home run leader.
Record. I think when I looked earlier today, they were on, at least on like Fanatics, it was like 85.5 over under for their win total. If they're helping, let me look at it best case scenario. We're talking about the main guys being the main guys. They're healthy enough, for the most part. I'm gonna say that they win 88 to 90 games, somewhere in that range. I think that they could be a team that makes the postseason as it sits right now. I mean, I get it. I have major questions about this defense. Both their issues on the infield, obviously, with some of the injuries that they're dealing with, and even outfield, just in terms of how well can these guys play, especially in those corner outfields. But I think 88 to 90 wins could be the sweet spot for them, and they could still be a wild card team. In terms of most valuable Oriole, it's a lot of options as it sits right now. I mean, I think Gunner's primed for a huge year right now. I really think he should have a breakout season. But at the same time, I could see Kyle Bradish having that same type of breakout season in his own right. As a pitcher, like, does Pete Alonso come out there and really turn out to be the big difference maker? Like, does he bring some of those same power numbers that maybe we saw from Anthony Santander his last year as an Oriole? That will put him in MVO range. So my best bet right now will probably be Gunner, just because he's the guy. If they're going to go anywhere, it's going to be because Gunnar Henderson is playing like one of the best players in all of Major League Baseball. So I'll go with him. What was the last one?
Most valuable Oriole record and
home run leader.
Home run leader. I'm going to go Alonso. I mean, I think that's going to be his role on the team. I mean, that's what they brought him here for, is to be the bat, to be the protection, to be that veteran, presence that brings this guaranteed production in some aspect. He may not lead the American League in home runs, but this dude is going to be one of the best power hitters in the American League without a doubt. So I would say him. I think that's going to be his role on the team, is to kind of clear the bases, come through in big spots. He's already showing in Sarasota that he'll be that emotional guy. He's going to encourage guys when they're doing great, and probably when they're not doing so great, as we saw him call that meeting right in the middle of the field. So yeah, I think Alonso should be the big bat in this lineup for sure.
You're singing our tune, because a lot of what we're going to talk about later on alludes to that. I want to ask you this question pertaining to the Orioles season as well, Cordell, because Tim and I did this last year and the year before. We always do a bold prediction for the season.
Hot take, good or bad?
Good or bad. Doesn't have to be critical or anything, but last year I predicted that Grayson Rodriguez would never pitch another inning for the Orioles before the season even started. And I hated that I was right.
Yeah.
I hated that I was right. And, today's news that he's going on the IL with a dead arm, it does not look very promising for the start of the year. But if you had to take a stab at it, what is a bold prediction for this Orioles season, whether it's the midway point or at the end of the year?
Let's see. Bold prediction. I'll say Kyle Bradish finishes top 3 in the American League in wins.
Oof. I like it.
I think
like
Bradish.
That. Oh,
I think that dude, when he takes the mound, he's out there to win. He's out there to go as long as he possibly can, and he's going to make everybody work for everything. And he's done nothing but show, that he could be something special. So I think the world of him. I'm really excited for a hopeful full year of Kyle Bradish this year. And if we get that, I'll go with top 3 in the American League in wins.
That's a great prediction. I like that. I really like that.
All right. Well, Cordell, we really appreciate you stopping in, giving us a little bit of your time. Matt and I probably listen to the fan here for a combined, I don't even know how many hours a week. So we know that you are a busy man. There's been lots of shifts and times, and everybody's moving around and sliding and you know, crazy stuff going on. So and you got a big week coming up next week. Back into the clubhouse you go.
Yeah, back to it next week. We'll be out at Pickles all day on opening day. I'll be on from 10 to 1 out there, and you know, I'll be inside the clubhouse. It'll be a long day, but it's the start of the marathon, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of prepping for a long season, but I'm ready for it, man. I'm excited for baseball season. Like I said, it's a lot of positive vibes, it feels like, around this Orioles team. It feels like, you know, I know it's been a struggle, definitely coming off of how last year went, but it's kind of trended down here the last year and a half, 2 years. So it seems like it's a rejuvenated energy right now around this team, a lot of excitement, and rightfully so. Hopefully they can stay healthy, man, because I do think the upside for this team is real.
Yep. We're gonna find you in the Truist Club all season long, right? You're gonna be up there eating.
I'm gonna be somewhere. I don't even, you know, they moved the press box now, so
Yeah,
I gotta see where the press box is. I think it's on the third baseline, if I'm not mistaken. So the good thing about that ballpark, though, it feels like is there's every seat in there is a good seat. So I'm sure it'll be fine. But enjoy that view, everybody that will be, you know, in the old press box area now. That's a really good view in there.
That's the spot. Matt, you got anything else for Cordell before we let him get out of here?
Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. I know that you're a busy man. You're always on our airwaves every single day, it seems like. For everybody that might not necessarily know that you're on the radio, where can they find you on socials? Because you're very active there as well.
Yeah. You can follow me at Cordell Woodland. Really on any social, Instagram, Twitter. I'm gonna be big on TikTok this year. So I'm gonna do a lot of different content so I'm gonna start diving into TikTok this season, kicking that off with the Orioles. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, you can listen to my show with Ben Hall, The Fresh Take. We're usually on Thursday evenings. Next week actually will be on Tuesday night, because Thursday will be a crazy day with opening day and we'll all be out at Pickles. But I've been on Inside Access with Tim Barbalace this week, finishing off the week tomorrow as well from 2 to 6. And we'll actually have Trevor Rogers on tomorrow. So definitely want to check that out.
Awesome. All right, Cordell, as always, we appreciate it. And I'll come find you on Thursday down there at Old Pickles.
Please do. Appreciate you guys.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
Yeah, Cordell's a great guy. I love listening to Cordell. He's very refreshing and not angry, if you will.
Yeah, so, he adds a little he has a nice calming take to it. But he can be real too. He'll tell you like it is.
Yeah.
But
of course.
There's just the way he goes about it. So we're really appreciative that Cordell hit me up, was like, I'll hop on. So that was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's always good to have an outsider perspective for the show. You know, we're aiming this year, everybody that's watching, we're aiming this year to be consistently on your screens a lot more often, and to give a more positive, upbeat take on the Orioles this year.
It got tough last year.
It got tough.
We all know.
I was a little bit of a curmudgeon for a good part of the year, but it's a fresh season. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to what is coming. I think this is going to be a good baseball team. I have my reservations defensively for some guys, but I think that we're going to get a chance to see our depth with Jackson and Jordan on the IL to start the year. I don't think Jackson's going to be gone very long. He might be back by the end of April. I'm assuming. That's just my guess, at least. But I'm a little bit more, I guess, down on seeing Jordan Westberg this year. What about you?
Yeah, I love Westy.
Yeah.
I think he is a phenomenal baseball player, and I feel for him. I do. A lot of people knock, and there's that the thing that goes in on our brains as sports fans, the oh, that guy's always injured or injury prone. And these guys wouldn't have made it to where they are in their career if, they were injury prone, so to speak. It's really tough to do that. And sometimes it's just, the universe has a plan for you, and it's some bad luck. And it's you feel for the guy, because even when I was down there in Sarasota a couple weeks ago, you can see it on his face. He's working. He wants to throw so bad. In fact, we were watching him take ground balls and then switching the ball to his other hand so that he could throw opposite hand, just so he could throw. That's how bad he wants to throw. He wants to be out there, and we said it a lot last year. So I'm interested to see, just like you said, how this team handles it without, having Jackson out there to start and Westberg for longer. Is how this team does without him, because there was something about this team just played better when Jordan Westberg was in the lineup.
It did. And I'm going to say this. I know when we talked earlier in the off season during our winter meetings update that we did a couple months ago, the Blaze Alexander trade makes a lot more sense now. And the Taylor Ward trade makes a lot more sense now, because you needed, what's up, Zach? It was the power right-handed bat was needed. If Westberg wasn't going to be in the lineup, Taylor Ward doesn't play the position, but he's a right-handed bat. So, to me, it's a good move. You sacrifice defense for offense. That's what we were clamoring for a little bit last year when Hyde was throwing out certain lineups. And once Jordan and Jackson are healthy, Blaze is your super utility guy. So I feel more comfortable knowing that he'll be in that role come mid-season, hopefully, if all goes well. Now, do we see Westy at all this year? We were just talking about bold takes. Mine has to do with Westy, so we'll get to that later. Everybody probably knows what I'm going to say, but I don't
You're
want to
not
be
going
right.
to do us 2 seasons in a row, Matt. Come on now.
And I'm not doing it in a negative way. I just have a hard time trusting the validity of injury prognosis from this baseball team.
How about Baltimore sports teams in general?
In general, I mean, I'm not trying to make this, the football season was rough last year. The baseball season was rough last year. So I'm having an optimistic outlook on both this year. Both teams, I think this is the second time in the city's history where both teams are going into a new season with new manager / head coach. So, looking forward to that. And there's a lot to be optimistic about. I want to see some guys step up this year that have question marks. Mainly, my guy that I want to see step up this year a lot is Colton Cowser. I want him to be consistent.
I'll reserve my comments till we get to that section.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like leading us into where we're gonna go, because, ladies and gentlemen, like Tim put together a fantastic video package for the opening of the show. That's going to be our intro. That was well done by Tim. He's put a lot of work into a lot of the graphics we're going to show you. So shout out to Tim for putting in a lot of the legwork leading up to this week. And do you want to dive right into it?
Yeah. All right. So agenda tonight, obviously, we're gonna do our lineup predictions, our rotation predictions, then our just our typical season predictions, just like we asked Cordell: home runs, record, most valuable Oriole, that sort of thing. And then I am going to give the world my 26-man roster prediction ahead of when that drops in the next couple days, most likely. So we're gonna start with my wife appreciated the intro video.
Yes, it was very well done. You told me you had a surprise, and I was pleasantly surprised. You showed me before we went on air before Cordell joined the stream as well. So yes, that was a 10 out of 10 video.
All right, so we're gonna talk about Matt's lineup prediction. Full disclosure, I hit Matt up about a week ago. I said, hey, I got some questions for you as we prepare for this week, and I gave him the list of stuff that I needed him to come up with. He did it without anything from me, and then I also did it without anything from him. So we have compiled our lineup predictions and our rotation predictions separately from each other, and we're gonna explore them. So let's take a look at Matt's lineup prediction. Matt, take the floor. Explain yourself.
Well, first and foremost, I don't understand why anybody is predicting anyone other than Gunner being the leadoff hitter for this team. You want your best hitter to hit first in the lineup. He's going to get on base, and he's going to score runs. He's a track star on the base path, and he's one of our most reliable bats. Why would you not have Gunner lead off? Especially with Jordan and Jackson both hurt, who could be viable leadoff options. I don't think Beavers is quite there yet. So he naturally makes the most sense because I don't think Cowser is ever going to sniff leadoff consistently unless he has a year that's far surpassing anything that we're all expecting. Rutschman is your classic number 2 hitter, obviously. I mean, that's where he hits the best. I'm cautiously optimistic that he's going to have a good year this year. I hope with Pete hitting behind him and Taylor Ward hitting behind him that he sees a little bit better pitching and he sees more pitches that he can drive constantly. So I know that we've been left-handed hitter heavy the last couple of years, but I think Alonso is going to be our 3 hitter. I know they've been batting him in the 2 hole a lot in spring. But I think when it's all said and done, obviously Alonso is going to be our 3 or possibly our cleanup. You can interchange him and Ward. And I like Basayo in the 5 hole. I think that's going to be solid because he's going to have protection in front of him. Now, if Mayo can at least be some semblance of a power hitter at this level consistently, him and Basayo are going to make a good 5-6. Cowser's perfect in the 7 hole. I like Beavers there because he's got speed on the base pass, he's got pop, and he's an anticipated bat, in my opinion, for the 2nd or the 3rd inning. You know what I'm saying, Tim?
Yeah, no, I get it.
And then Blaze, obviously, kind of de facto number 9 guy because Jackson was our number 9 guy often early on last year. So that's where I think the line's going to look like on opening day. Hopefully I'm right or it's some semblance of that, but I do believe that at least the top 4 are going to be interchangeable. Yeah, I agree with that. Alonso's got to be behind Gunner no matter what. Yeah, you because if Gunner can get on base, Alonso's going to drive in runs.
Yep. We both have Blaze in the 9 hole. Mine might be for a little bit of a different reason. So we'll flip on over here. Bring the world my lineup. I agree with you on the Gunner thing. I think we might see Gunner flip-flop leadoff and 2nd, depending on left versus right matchup. I think we'll find out rather quickly if that's the case. But I definitely agree with you that he needs to be in the number 1 slot, the number 2 slot at all times. Your best player should always get as many at-bats as possible, not just in the game, but over the course of the season. You want your best player to play. Someone that you did not include in your lineup,
Tyler O'Neill.
Tyler O'Neill. Yeah, you went with Dylan Beavers. I think that that's fair. That it might not be the opening day lineup. Those 2 are probably going to flip flop again based on matchup. I just think that my big 4 I'm going to talk about here is such a deadly combination. If O'Neill stays healthy and is hitting the ball like he has been in spring training, a combination of Gunner, O'Neill, and then into Pete Alonso is absolutely petrifying. And then if Taylor Ward can do exactly what we brought him in here to do, that 1 through 4, if you can have a combination of these guys stay that way as many games as possible, I think it's the top offense in baseball. I did some, not necessarily cheating, just some research because throughout spring training, with the superstars, the guys who get to kind of call their shots and have a voice heard and make some decisions. I went back and looked at all the spring training lineups so far. And there is one thing that stands out the most, and that is Pete Alonso in the 3 spot. Wouldn't surprise me if he's the kind of guy that wants to know where he's batting every day, and they're just going to stick him there and let him run. Whether he's at first place or he's DHing, the guy's going to play 160 games. And at least that's what he's done up until this point. That's why we brought him in here. I think Alonso is going to be in that 3-hole 9 out of 10 games in a row this year. I don't really see it deviating from that. The 4 spot can be interchangeable. Taylor Ward, Sammy Basayo. You want Sammy B. You want somebody with power in that 4 or 5 spot. So they're kind of interchangeable there for me. Kobe Mayo, the way he's been hitting the ball. I mean, if you look at this lineup, I mean, it's Gunnar Henderson can hit 40 home runs. We know that. Tyler O'Neill, if he were to stay healthy, we can't say that he can do it, but we know that he can. The power's there. Can hit 30 home runs. Pete Alonso can hit 50 home runs. Taylor Ward can hit 35, 40 home runs. Samuel Basayo, now he's not going to play every day, but if he did, he's a 30 home run guy. Kobe Mayo is going to get the opportunity to play every day with the injury to Jordan Westberg. What did he do to create a name for himself as he climbed through the minors? He was known as literally one of the best power bats in a long time. And, that's 6 names that I just rolled off in a 1 through 6 that can all smoke the baseball. So, time will tell, I guess you could say. Adley, I think we're going to see Adley bounce around. Unfortunately, I would like to see him get a select spot and stay there, but I think he's going to be up top in the order sometimes, 2, 3 hole. And I think he's going to float around in that bottom of the order too. Colton Cowser. Yeah. He's a switch hitter. So, you can do a lot with him. You can move him up and down, left or right. That's what he does. And I think we're in store for a big year with Adley.
We've been saying that for a couple of years now.
We have. Every time I say that, my dog freaks out like I'm calling her over to me. And then last, Blaze Alexander. He has one of the best walk percentages on the team, and he's up there when it comes in relation to baseball. So, short stint, not a huge sample size, but he gets on base. And if you can get somebody that's quick, fast, a shifty little guy like Blaze Alexander on base before you get back to the top of this order, I think that's the better spot. I would like him there more so than plugging him, in that 7 spot, just because I would like him to get on base before the meat of the lineup comes up.
I want to touch on one thing about what we were talking about with Basayo. Basayo should be in the lineup every day. And I'm not saying it necessarily is your everyday DH, but he should also be splitting and platooning a catcher with Adley, just so you can spare both of them physically. Especially in those long stretches where they play, the last couple of years where they played like 30 games in 33 days or something of that ilk. But you just gave Basayo a long-term extension. He's the first Oriole you've given an extension to in this regime. If you're going to pay him all that money, you play him. Unless he's having an absolute rut where he just can't hit, you got to play him at DH or you got to play him at catcher. The occasional first base, if you want to give, Alonso a day off, but Alonso seems dead set on playing first base as much as he possibly can.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I know we got more stuff to talk about, but it was just interesting because I think Basayo, a lot of predictions, a lot of stat line or betting odds have Basayo around the 9 or 10 home run mark, and there's one that has him at 25 home runs and 74 RBIs this year. So if you can get that out of your number 5 hitter, that's incredible.
I agree. And then another person we didn't even talk about, and I honestly haven't gotten my mind made up. I'm not sure where he fits in the equation. I think he breaks the team out of camp, but where does Ryan Mountcastle fit into all of this?
Honestly, I mean, I'm shocked that he's still here. not because he hasn't played well, but you got a lot of guys that can do what he does, play first base and DH. He's so far removed from the days of playing shortstop and playing the outfield that you can't really rely on him for that on a consistent basis. I mean, because how much worse can he be than Ward or O'Neal in the outfield, at a corner outfield? I mean, if you plan on doing that and you plan on, but he hasn't taken any reps in the outfield this year or any other place in first base for that matter. He's an excellent defensive first baseman. We all know that. That's true, Chris. Heston's another guy. What do you do with Heston? You know, do you have him break camp with the major league roster and he's your fifth outfielder? But you're not gonna. I don't think he makes the team over Tavares.
He doesn't, and it sucks because he looked great. That was one of my major takeaways from spring is the dude was not only just hustling down the line, he was hustling in the outfield. He was working. His swings looked crisp. He looked confident at the plate. Everything that we were told about Heston, you know, you were seeing at the plate. And then we were always told that he's not, you know, an above grade defender, but you can't deny his hustle and his try.
Yeah.
And like that was evident down there. So, you know, he's made it a point. It's obvious that he deserves every reason to break camp with this team. It's just, I don't think that we're going to see that because he can't play center field. He is questionable in left field. Right field is sort of his option right now.
Yeah. And I mean, he hasn't shown that he can consistently hit at the major league level. So you're not going to throw DH reps at him when you got other guys that can take it. And as for Dylan Beavers,
this is why.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Kim is absolutely correct. I'm going to say something about Beavers that might seem like it's lofty, but watching Beavers play the outfield and watching his approach at the plate and his build, he is very similar to Markakis.
I honestly think Beavers is going to turn into a household name in Baltimore.
I do. And the thing is, Markakis is a very lofty comparison because Markakis was a damn near consistent 300 hitter or close to it. So I'm not saying that he's going to be Markakis, but he has the same tool set that Markakis had. I think he might be a little bit bigger than Markakis physically, though. But he can fly, and he's athletic as all get out. You got to keep Beavers in the lineup as much as possible.
Yeah, and I wanted, before we shift over to the next, segue, I wanted to note something that my wife actually brought up in the comments, and she's right. We talk about this all the time too, is that with all this meat in the lineup, thumper, 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 it's just 6 of the 9 right there are known for hitting home runs. I would really like to see, they can still hit home runs, but I would like to see them not be swinging for home runs at every pitch. Chop some up the middle, drop some balls into the, gaps, play a little bit of small ball, and get back to like Alvarez said that his, motto, his MO was to play a cleaner brand of baseball and just let these guys go out there and stop overthinking and just play baseball. So I, if we have these big time hitters, there's no reason that they need to be swinging out of their shoes at every single pitch. And I think that if they take a step back and do exactly what Alvarez said to do, play a cleaner brand of baseball, get back to just, the basics and enjoying the game, the potential in this lineup is first class.
I agree. But as much as we don't want to rely on the long ball, and Stephanie pointed it out, and she pointed it out a lot last year and the year before that, home runs with guys on base. I mean, small ball is the key, but they didn't build this as a small ball team. If you're going to go small ball, you're not signing Pete Alonso. You're not trading for Taylor Ward. You're not playing Kobe Mayo at third.
I think they were trying to find an answer for missing 30 home runs from Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah,
He
I
went.
get that.
What do you have? 17 last year.
He did. Um, I just don't think that they constructed this roster to be a small ball, even though it's a practice and it's a theory. I don't see a whole lot of small ball guys that are going to hit for average and try to drive the ball in the gaps and move runners over with a sacrifice fly or a bunt or something of that nature. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it with what the lineup is on the screen right now.
Yep. Nope. All right, Matt. Next up, the question that is always the question in Baltimore. Usually, the offense is never a question. It's always this pitching, pitching, pitching. So, explain your lineup.
Or the rotation. Much like Cordell alluded to with Eflin starting tomorrow, I think Eflin should come up to Baltimore and not be left in Florida. If he can pitch, you pitch him. I understand Dean Kramer's not in this rotation. He deserves to be a starter, but I think Kramer might be your bridge guy, not necessarily your long man. I mean, he could be a long man because Suarez could do that too. But if there's a situation where Bassett can't go 5 or Eflin can't go 5, and then you can pivot to Kramer, who's going to give you starter level stuff at least for an inning or two. And I trust Kramer in that role. I trust Kramer to be a starter. I like Dean. I'm surprised he was still on the team with like everything up in the air. We entertained Suarez this offseason. We entertained Valdez this offseason. So a lot of those guys that we could have possibly added to me equaled Kramer being moved or being told he's going to be in the bullpen especially after some of these moves. I like Trevor Rogers starting opening day. Bradish, if he's healthy, he's an ace, at least for the Orioles, I believe. Baz intrigues me with arguably a better offense than what was in Tampa for the last couple of years. Bassett, I think, is just a shinier Kyle Gibson. A little bit older, but he's a bulldog that eats innings. And
Chris Bassett is a Ford Ranger in your driveway
yeah,
that you are never getting rid of. It'll run forever, and it'll take you to work every single day.
and I want nothing more than to see Eflin do well. I love Eflin. I think that he's just going to be a fantastic pitcher for us this year. So yeah, this is my rotation right here. I don't think they're going to start the season with a 6-man rotation. I really don't.
Well,
I think Kramer's going to be in the bullpen.
I'm going to have to pivot you there because Orioles do Orioles things. So here's mine. I think Zach Eflin is questionable to break camp. I think if he doesn't do it for opening day, I think couple weeks in Florida, they'll slow him up and we'll be into a 6-man rotation by mid-April. I mean, 2-3 weeks into the season, I think the 6-man rotation is inevitable. I think that's their plan, honestly. They have Cade Povich, who is another starter who's going to be sitting at minor league ball waiting, barring any injuries. The reason is Trevor Rogers, guaranteed lock. Kyle Bradish, guaranteed lock. Chris Bassett, you just paid him, guaranteed lock. Shane Baz, you paid to bring him in, guaranteed lock. Dean Kramer, there's no way you're putting Dean Kramer in your bullpen to be a long guy or be a bridge guy, whatever you want to call it. He's a starter for them. He eats innings. Between Chris Bassett and Dean Kramer, there's not enough innings to go around. Those guys are going to gobble them up. And that's why I think that as soon as Zach Eflin, they might ease into it, whether that's him, them doing it right away out of camp or not. My only argument, I guess I technically have 2 arguments, is that I'm not always a big fan of the 6-man rotation because it depends what these 5 guys in front of that 6th man prefer. A lot of pitchers don't like being in a 6-man rotation. They want to be consistent. 6 kind of throws off with the off days, your consistency. And just it changes so much. It fluctuates. There's a reason that the 5-man rotation is tried and true and works. So, if these 5 guys in front of this 6-man are, really need to get into a groove and become a creature of habit.
Yeah.
That's one reason that I'm against it. The thing that worries me the most is that you don't allow any of these guys to get into a groove. You're taking away innings from your top 3, your top 2 in our case, which also can translate to wins. When you have your best pitchers out there every 5 days as opposed to every 6 days, you're going to run into more wins that way. It's just the way it is. I think that the Orioles are going to do Orioles things, and that we're going to see this 6-man rotation. And I think that their mentality behind it is they haven't seen Trevor Rogers pitch a ton of innings in one season. Kyle Bradish, they want to take their time and ease their way back in from his injury. Zach Eflin, they want to take their time and spread out his innings. So you're spreading innings out on 3 of your 6 starters that are on your roster.
Right.
The way to do that is with a 6-man rotation.
I hear you. I just think for continuity purposes and just to kind of get Bradish and Rogers rolling, I understand a lot of these guys are coming back and are getting back to form from major injuries, but now isn't the time to do the training wheels thing. That's what spring training is for.
Yeah, and my second worry, what I was getting to, is that when you have 6 guys in your rotation, that means you have 1 less bullpen arm. And Matt, what's if you had to look at the offense, the starting pitching, and the bullpen on the team, what's your concern?
The bullpen.
Right. So why would you, voluntarily go a man down when you don't have to?
Yeah, I understand. I understand the thought process. I just think that out of all 3 phases of the game, the bullpen is the most questionable. So I think you would want to have an extra arm in there regardless, as opposed to the 6-man rotation. That's also a valid point. I don't want them to do the 6-man rotation and short any of these guys a start or 2, the way it'll shake out. If you can get Bradish for 30 starts, I want Bradish for 30 starts.
Right.
Because more often than not, Bradish is going to be on. Trevor Rogers sample size. Now you can do the multiply by 3 with his numbers because he played a third of the year last year. I don't think Rogers is a 30-game winner, obviously. But if you can at least get 60% of the production that he had last year in a full season volume, he's a all-star pitcher. I want to see these guys out there, and I want to see them utilized to their fullest capability. I'm not saying run them into the ground. I'm just saying make these guys go out there and do what they do, and let's go win some ball games on the backs of these guys.
Yep. Nope, I totally agree. And that's my 2 concerns is you're taking wins away from your top pitchers on your team. When you go 6-man, you're also sacrificing a bullpen slot, which we do not have the ability to do. And
we don't have the flexibility because honestly, the bullpen is probably the worst theoretically that it's been in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yep. I'll let that take us into this then. I'll give you my 26-man so that way people can see where I think the relievers are going to line up. There's a couple big question marks. I think this is one of the most challenging years when it comes to trying to figure out the 26-man that's coming next week. There's, I would say 3 big spots that are in question to me. Some of it has to do with the infield injuries. Some of it has to do with having 6 starters right now. You could even say 7 if they didn't send Cade down last week. So we'll run into my 26-man. Infield, I think, is what everybody thought, except for one of my questions, and I have it's kind of small on here, but I'll I'll talk about it. Pete Alonso is a given. Ryan Mountcastle, he's on your team, so he's a given. Blaze Alexander is a given because Holiday is not going to make it. With the injury, he's not going to break camp for opening day. So Gunnar Henderson, don't need to say anything. Kobe Mayo is a guarantee with the injury to Jordan Westberg. Adley Rutschman, Sam Basayo, your two catchers, both are guarantees. The big question mark was Jeremiah Jackson. I am a Jeremiah Jackson guy, truther, I guess they could say. So I lean his way. I think there was, I have a note down here about it, but there's strong competition between him and Vasquez, and I would not be shocked if they go with Vaz over Jeremiah for this 26 man. It wouldn't shock me. It's a toss up. I think it's literally a coin flip. So that was one of my big standouts as far as, the infield slots. Outfield, I think we know what we're going to get. One could say there was a slight question there. Is Heston going to make this team? But I don't think he does. Colton Cowser we've already know is going to be the Orioles center fielder. Tyler Ward, we already know based on bringing him in and the money spent. Left field, Tyler O'Neill, veteran, we already know he's going to be on this team. Dylan Beavers or Heston Kjerstad. I think that it's pretty clear we've seen the Orioles commit to Dylan Beavers. And then as it was brought up in the comment section, I've talked about it before. I've posted about it, especially with Colton Cowser being deemed our center fielder. Leody Taveras is the only true center fielder on this team. Because of that, he can play the corners or center. Just by looking at the roster construction, I think he's a lock. So I think I'm pretty safe on this side of the fielders when it comes to it being a lock, with the exception of I would not be surprised if they coin flip on Vaz versus Jeremiah Jackson. Any objections before I move over to the pitchers?
No,
What do
you
you
hit
think?
the nail on the head. I would like to see him make the team. But like Vasquez is making a solid case for it. The pitchers scare me after the starters. Helsley had an up and down year last year.
We're going next. Yeah.
Yeah. Helsley had an up and down year. Yeah.
Trevor Rogers, lock. Kyle Bradish, lock. Chris Bassett, lock. Shane Baz, lock. Dean Kramer, lock. This is one of the question marks I was talking about. Does Eflin break camp? Wouldn't surprise me either way. Whatever route they take doesn't surprise me. I'm hoping that he does not. He hangs out in Florida for a couple weeks and they slow roll the process and get these 5 starters off on the right foot. And then this is where, Matt, I'll let you take it and go through these relievers because this is where it gets shaky.
Yeah. I'm an Albert Suarez guy, so I really want him to be successful this year. Yenier Cano, is he going to implode? Is he going to bounce back? I'm happy to see Tyler Wells was put in the bullpen early on in spring to where it wasn't really a question whether he was going to make the rotation or not. I think he's better suited for the back end of the bullpen, your 7th or 8th inning guy, potentially even a spot closer. Aiken, I don't know what he's got on this front office, but he's still here. And like Dietrich Enns and Rico Garcia,
Uncle Rico.
it's kind of like who? But I'm just I'm iffy on it because I was saying all off season, I've texted you about it a bunch, and I've talked to guys in my group chats and stuff. Danny Coulomb would have made this bullpen look so much better. And Boston scooped him last week.
Yeah, did you see the news on that today, by the way? You might rethink your decision. So he only went for $1 million, right? And everyone was like, even myself, why didn't the Orioles take a waiver? Discussing with baseball minds and seeing it online and, reading about it. It was clear that teams, for $1 million, something, what's the catch? And it turns out they had to rework the deal today because there's something in the medicals. Yeah. So the deal was reworked today. Apparently it was, can't remember the quote exactly. It was a little bit of a difficult rework, but they did rework the deal. He is still in Boston, but there was something in the medicals. So that, it makes sense now. There are only 3 pitchers in this bullpen right now that I think could go be in a bullpen on any other major league team. And it's Ryan Helsley, Keegan Aiken, and Tyler Wells. I think after that, these 5 guys at the bottom, they would not be a guaranteed bullpen arm on
Anywhere else?
many MLB teams. So it's a major question mark. You hit the nail on the head. Can we see Cano, get back to 2023, 2024? I wouldn't even say 2024, 2023 style. Who knows? Uncle Rico. I've nicknamed him Uncle Rico for, a reason. Dietrich Enns, actually, and he does have some promising stuff. Enns really does have some promising stuff. So I'm not going to ever talk bad about any of these guys. They're professional athletes for a reason. I'm just going to be critical. And a guy behind me in Sarasota literally said who, and then said, does that say burnt ends? And now I can't not think about that. Grant Wolfram, I think he also has the potential to be a very decent pitcher one day. So the big question here for me is Albert Suarez, and I'm going to explain why, because there might be some viewers that don't, understand. Out of those positions, he's our long guy, but he also has an opt-out in his contract if he does not break camp. So there's a reason that I pulled him in as my choice. There are a lot of people out there today that are taking Cowher. I think it's pronounced Cower, but it's Kowar, who also has some good stuff, but he's been getting shelled the last couple weeks, but he is promising and he looks great when he is on. So there are a lot of people in the media, beat reporters and stuff, that are taking Coer over Suarez, but it's essentially you got to pick your poison because he has no options. So you're either going to take Suarez if you don't want him to not. If Suarez doesn't make the team, he opts out, and then there's probably half of the teams in baseball someone's going to jump in on him right away because they saw what he did in Orioles. They're going to in Birdland last year, the year before. He can spot start for you. He can bridge you. He is the Swiss Army knife that a lot of clubhouses, want on that roster.
Absolutely.
But Coer has really good stuff. The only problem is if he doesn't break camp, he gets DFA'd. So just off Orioles history, I think that they might have Suarez break camp so that way he doesn't get scooped up by another team. And they're going to probably roll the dice that
who has an option?
Coer sneaks his way through waivers somehow. I don't see that he would sneak his way through waivers, but they probably are going to take that gamble. So
Cano has an option.
Yeah.
If you believe that much in Coer's stuff, Cano has an option.
But see, the thing is with Cano, it's just with Suarez, and it's the same thing with Keegan Aiken, and Keegan Aiken's has a lot more talent, not necessarily an extreme amount, but there's certain guys that the Orioles like, and I think Cano is one of them.
No, I get it. I totally get it. There's no doubt in my mind that they like him because they've kept him around for a very long time. I agree with Stephanie that he is not that. I'm trying to be positive, and she is just going crazy. And I don't think you risk letting these bullpen arms get away if they have something to offer. To me, I think Cano needs to prove that he belongs up here.
Restoring, we did, but we can run a little recap for you.
Yeah. That's just me. Well, I'm not a Cano guy. What's up, Joe?
All right. So there's my 26-man lock that I posted on socials. I think last year I missed by one player. And if I had to guess, I'm either going to miss by Jeremiah Jackson over Vaz this year, or I'm going to miss with Albert Suarez versus Coer this year. So that's my lock. That's what I'm sticking to. We'll see what happens. It's a tough year to
I feel
decide.
like our bullpen is straight out of the Major League movie.
And for real. And if I were to hit on those two names and get this correctly, I'll probably miss with they will break camp with Eflin, and then there'll be an odd man out of the bullpen. It'll be someone that has options, most likely.
No.
We'll flash this real quick for Restoring, who, asked the question, but just to run through our Orioles opening day lineup. I went Gunnar, O'Neill, Alonso, Ward 1 through 4, followed by Basayo, Mayo, Rutschman, Kowser, and Blaze. Matt did not go with Tyler O'Neill. He ran Gunnar, Adley, Alonso, Ward, Basayo, Mayo, Colton, and Dylan Beavers getting the start on opening day over Tyler O'Neill, which that would be a sight to see, wouldn't it? And then Blaze Alexander. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I'm excited for this part where we do our predictions.
Yeah, I knew you were. That's why I saved it for last.
I know you did. I
had to do a little flip.
Yeah, you had to do it because that's the fun part. Not the technical baseball breakdown of everything. This is more along the lines of just overall season success. Because I was optimistic this year. I'm really trying not to crash out on this show because.
What do you think of my shirt, Matt? This is for all the haters out there, by the way.
I mean, well, they didn't win the WBC. So.
They didn't, and they took a lot of hate, and I don't care. They were great.
Mark DeRosa better not ever manage a team that has any Orioles on it ever again because it's absolutely egregious. It's so bad.
I'm still angry.
I didn't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, you can't even blame it on you playing what the spreadsheet says because you benched the person who was leading in 3 of the 4 major categories.
Bregman, Ofer.
Yeah, great idea. All right, Matt, your favorite part. We'll start with you. Prediction time, ladies and gentlemen. We do it every year.
Every year. Before you put it up, I just want to let everybody know I texted him about this.
I knew you were going to say this.
2 years ago yesterday, we did our first show together and became what eventually became Foul Ball Talk. So shout out to the start of our 3rd season together.
Don.
You okay?
I started laughing.
You're dying over there.
All right. Prediction time.
You're struggling. All right. So while Tim's over there regaining consciousness, Gunnar, most valuable Oriole. I was kind of back and forth between Gunnar and Jackson. I think Jackson's going to have a big year when he comes back. No matter what anybody says, I think he is going to have a breakout year. I struggled on the record because I didn't want to put this team back in that 85 to 90 win range, but Alonso, Ward, Bassett, all the guys we added, I think they give you at least a 10 wins off the rip. And I think with a healthy Bradish, I factored in a lot when I was thinking about the win total. So I think we get 90 this year. Low end is 90. I think that we can be a 94, 95 win team if everybody maintains health and we get Jackson and Jordan back. If we get both of them back. But that's where I see the 90 and 72 coming in. I think we can do that. I think it's attainable, and I'm hoping for it. Home runs, I know the totals are going to be a little bit of a sticker shock to some of our viewers.
You got 130 points on the board right there, Matt.
Yeah. Gunnar has a bounce back year. I don't think Gunnar hits 40. But I think Gunnar is definitely a 35 plus home run. I think he's going to settle in around that 37 mark.
You're going to get 50% off Papa John's 37 times this year. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I wish it was Domino's, but I digress. I upticked Taylor Ward and Pete Alonso's home run totals from a year ago simply for the Camden Yards effect. It's a hitter's ballpark. Left field has been reconfigured yet again. It gets very humid in the summer. A lot of pop-ups turn into home runs. We've been going to games since we were little kids. Our dads have talked about it. Our uncles have talked about it. Our friends have talked about it. And as we've gotten older, we all know when it hits June or July, the ball flies out of that ballpark. So Ward had 35 last year. I think he eclipses 40. Alonso had under 50 last year. I think he gets 51. I think that he gets near that Orioles home run record his first year. And that's just the confidence. The guy can just flat out hit. I mean, he hit 4 home runs in the first week of spring training. Dude is a monster bat. So going from the Mets to the Orioles, I think we have a little bit more of a hitter-friendly ballpark, if I'm not mistaken, than the Mets do.
We do. We definitely do. I think it was 9. I don't know why that number stands out to me. Someone did the math of home runs last year that Pete hit that would have been in Camden Yards, and I think it was 9.
Right. So you add 9. I went on the lower end of that. I think it was about 6 more than what he hit last. I think it was like 6 or 7 more. I can't remember exactly what Pete had last year, but I'm optimistic that Pete approaches the Orioles home run record this year. And I think those guys are going to benefit greatly from playing in Camden Yards. And I think Taylor Ward is going to be in the lineup enough to where 41 is realistic, because I would personally rather see Ward in the outfield than Tyler O'Neill. And plus, Tyler O'Neill can't stay healthy. I know Ward struggles with injuries a little bit as well, but I think Ward's going to be protected in this lineup. He's going to be sandwiched right in between hitting behind Alonso and in front of Basayo, or in front of Rutschman, or in front of somebody like that, to where I think he's going to see some good pitching, and it's going to be, home run city for a while.
I like it. We are very similar in our predictions, by the way. We're not far off. Should tell you that there's some excitement there. And I also wanted to point out, I don't know if you saw it, but the opening day banner that they always put up on the opposite side of the warehouse, the parking lot side. Did you see the image of the 3 players on it today?
I did not. I've kind of been coasting since I've been home.
Well, it's usually Gunnar and Adley are always on there. Adley was not on there. Samuel Basayo was.
You paid the guy. It's not personal this year yet, and I'm hoping to remain that way with Adley. But you paid Basayo. You're trying to attract a new set of fan base from the Hispanic side. You want to advertise one of your young stars. The kid can't even buy a beer yet.
Nope.
So illegally. So yeah, I'm all for having Basayo all over the promotional stuff.
I agree.
We've had Adley all over it for 7 years now, it seems like.
Did you see another little interesting fact for you? The Orioles announced a multi-year partnership with Under Armour.
It's not surprising. Under Armour is synonymous with Baltimore.
Here's the interesting part. They said multi-year partnership. And guess why it's Under Armour? Because Under Armour has Gunnar Henderson.
Well, that's always interesting, but yeah.
How about a multi-year partnership for Gunnar Henderson?
I would love that. Let's sign the guy long-term that represents Under Armour. That would be beautiful.
Vahiva Aloy. Remember that name. We'll circle back to that in a couple years. You'll know why.
Isn't he the kid we just drafted?
It's Gunnar's replacement.
No, Ricky Bobby. No.
All right. Tim's predictions. Let's let it rock.
There we go.
Right on pace with Matt. most valuable Oriole, Gunnar Henderson. I think that we are in store for an incredible comeback year. I think he's pissed off. I think he's mad at the world that he wasn't played during the baseball classic, that he wasn't at the table with the so-called superstars. He didn't get any publicity unless he hit a home run, which he hit 2 of them in back-to-back games where his runs, were very important to Team USA's success. And then also he did an interview recently and found out that his grandfather, who was a major influence in his life, he credits his grandfather with his love for the game of baseball, passed away just about a month ago. So he has dedicated this entire season to his grandfather. And we all know how the universe works when things like that happen. Some magic stuff happens. I know a lot of you might remember Trey Mancini's inside the park home run the day after Mo died. Crazy stuff happens when dedications like that go on. As far as the record, I had 1 more game than you. I was also floating around between the 88 to 90. And you know what? I said I'm going to be excited for this year. There's a lot of changes in the ballpark, a lot of changes with this team, a lot of changes at the ownership level. As far as the manager staff goes, I think that Mike Elias is still driving this ship. We're not even going to touch on that or get into that because I'm in a good mood right now.
So am I.
So the reason I went with 91 is because that's my birth year. And I was floating between that 88 and 90. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit more exciting. We're going to sprinkle a little salt on it. We're going to go 91.
I was in a good mood until you said the birth year. Because now when we sign up for things online, we got to scroll.
Oh, I know. It's terrible.
Find our year now. It's not like a simple little swipe up. It's fun. It's like you're hitting a Rolodex.
Home runs, we had the same 3 players.
We did. And that's the crazy thing. You said in the beginning that we didn't talk to each other about our predictions.
We did not.
And we didn't. We didn't even talk about win-loss numbers. You gave me the criteria, and we did it blindly until you showed me the pictures
graphics
of it all, the graphics last night. I'm like, this is crazy. Like we were like my numbers were a little bit higher, obviously, on the home run totals for Pete and Taylor, but
I think I came to 43 with Pete because I think that yes, he will hit more homers in Camden Yards. I think it's an easier ballpark for him to do so. Humidity, park factor, all of that. I think he's excited to be here. But I also had to counteract that with regression. So if I took his number from last year, added in regression, sprinkled in a couple extra for it being Camden Yards, I settled at 43.
That's fair.
It's just what I like. I think he beats 40. I think that there's a little bit of a competition. I think at the All-Star break, we might see Gunnar and Pete neck and neck. And I think competition breeds success.
Yeah.
So if we have a little competition going on for a home run race, I think it'll be great for the team, but I think it'll be great for fans. Gunnar Henderson, I had to put at 39 because again, with this race going on, we've seen it. We saw it 2 years ago with your steak dinner bet that we made.
That still hurts.
I think that 40 number is like the target for him, and just something about falling just short of that really makes me think. So 39 for him, and then I think Taylor Ward at 33. The only reason I didn't go higher on Taylor Ward, even though I know he did it last year, is because of what my eyes saw in Sarasota. I am not fully sold on him yet. I am at 33 with this choice because of the track record, the reason we brought him in, his history. Numbers don't lie. You know, I like numbers. I personally am not fully sold on him. I can't put a thumb on it. I'm hoping I will be. I'm hoping in 2 months that I will be. So I settled at 33. So that's it. There's our breakdown. Episode 1 in the books.
You want to do the bold prediction?
I'm ready when you are.
I want you to go first because I got a couple of them. Nothing crazy, obviously, but I got a couple of them.
All right. I wrote it down. I got to pull it up. I got one bold prediction for you.
Okay.
I don't know how you're going to feel about it, though.
Enlighten me, sir.
Colton Cowser
Okay.
will be batting for the Norfolk Tides by June.
Honestly, that's I'm not entirely like blown away with the fact that could be true. So
I am not excited for it. Such a likable dude. Of course, I'm in his corner rooting for him.
yeah,
I'm just going to leave it at that.
I mean, I get it. I mean, you might be right. I mean, I don't think Kaiser has a very long leash here. Now, Kaiser's position also factors into one of my bold predictions. My first bold prediction is not positive, and I don't want to be right about this, but I don't believe Westberg plays this year. I think that just off of my mistrust of the Orioles disclosing injury and severity and all of that, I I truly believe. I know that you were down in spring training, and I know you had a chance to look at these guys up close, and you can see the desire and the want for Westberg, and he's a natural go getter. My gut feeling that I had about Grayson last year, I have about Westy this year. I Something's wrong with that elbow, seriously.
Fair
And
assumption.
and I truly believe that he's going to end up needing Tommy John surgery. I'm not wishing it. I'm making that clear. I'm not wishing it. I want Westy back in the lineup. I want him hitting, in the 2 hole or in the 5 hole, whatever. I want Westy on this team. I love Westberg. I'm a huge Westberg fan, but I don't believe he's going to play this year. This team is not truthful when it comes to injuries. And I know it's gamesmanship, but at the same time, your fans don't trust you for the most part, from who I've talked to. A lot more don't trust than they do.
Right.
And then tying into my bold prediction, the Orioles will be in the playoff hunt this year, and they will be in it at the All-Star break. And I believe
Buyers.
And I believe, just if I'm going off of my gut instinct of who they trade for, I believe Joe Ryan and Byron Buxton will be Orioles by the trade deadline.
Is that your center fielder?
Your center fielder, because you're going to have to upgrade from Kowser, because I don't believe he's going to be what we want him to be. And I believe that you add a bona fide top of the rotation starter, and then you have a plethora of starters throughout the course of the second half of the season, to where you can put Eflin and Kramer in the bullpen, and you solidify that for the playoff run. Because going into the playoffs with 7 starters is a lot better than going to the playoffs with 2 starters or 3 starters. And it's also insurance in case anybody gets hurt. Knock on wood, nobody gets hurt this year. We have a healthy year. But I believe the Orioles make a deal. I believe they come up with one of these outfielders in the minors, and they center a deal around Enrique or Vance or somebody of that nature. And Joe Ryan and Byron Buxton are Orioles. Those are my 2 predictions.
I like it.
I like it too, but I mean, not for the but you're gonna
Not
need
for the Westberg part.
yeah, not for the Westy part. I sat here, like, I thought about this show a lot, Tim, and what we did last year and how the season went, and I was very pessimistic about a lot, and I didn't want to be, but I just was. But I just don't. They're lying to us, and that's the only problem I have right now is they're lying to the fans. Because if it was just a small elbow issue, we wouldn't be talking about a May or a June return for Westberg. We wouldn't be talking about something where it's a couple months out. They're gonna ease into this season. They're gonna see how the team's doing. And if we're winning ball games early on, it's going to be a random Thursday at 2:00 in the afternoon. Orioles infielder Jordan Westberg to undergo Tommy John surgery. He's going to pop up on her phone. Like
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't want to be wrong. I mean, I don't want to be right because I was right about Grayson. I said Grayson was never going to pitch for us again. But I said it was because of a multitude of reasons, not just his health. And as much as many,
you saw the breaking news on him today, by the way.
yeah,
right?
I'm alluding to that. I know we're getting ready to wrap and all that, but Grayson Rodriguez has a dead arm, and he is going on the IL. And that is not a 10-day stint or a 15-day stint. I like Grayson. It was fantastic meeting him a couple years ago. Very nice guy. But it might be over. His arm just might be shot. All the injuries and all the workhorse, in the minors and all that stuff might just be finally catching up to him. And he very well could be the next Orioles what could have been. And I want to see the young man get healthy. I hope G-Rod can get it together over in Los Angeles. But coming out on March 19th that you got a dead arm and you're going to start the season on the IL, that means he's not even picking up a baseball right now.
It's a tough break. I was reading some Angels fans' comments today, and they now know what we went through. So,
but I mean, the Angels, and we talked about this when they made the trade, because we did a show when they made the trade. The Angels fans had to know something was up if we're trading away a guy that's age-wise in his prime, and when he's healthy, he was throwing upper 90s, and then this spring his fastball velo dropped 3 miles per hour from 3 years ago. It's been a steady decline, and now he's not even hitting 95 on the radar gun.
And with control.
Right, and he was having a walk issue. He was walking batters.
Yep.
I'm not gloating about being right. It's unfortunate that I was right. But I don't think that they're going to trade Westberg next year or anything. Restoring, I get you, buddy, and I understand. But them saying that he played catch and them posting a video on their socials of him playing catch and doing baseball activities are completely different things. We said, according to the Orioles, he was doing a lot last year. And then his return date kept on getting pushed back. And then he had a setback. And then he had an injury while he was rehabbing. The guy is hurt. Something is seriously wrong. And I honestly partially blame the Orioles for the way they handled him. And that's fair to say, Tim. I don't know if you agree, but
I'm trying to turn a new leaf. I think.
Yeah. But we know what it is. And everybody watching knows what it is.
Yep. All right. I wanted to get this out there too. Also, people tuning in, obviously, I'll be down the yard all year long. Literally every game unless we're away. You'll find me mobbing around, say what's up. Can't miss the guy with the cane. And if you got little ones, definitely say what's up, because I probably have baseballs from the game before to hand out. So holler at your boy. We'll be around the yard. I'll be making my rounds on opening day. You'll see me scooting around, camping around with my cane, say what's up. We can exchange some baseball stats for all my fellow nerds out there. Matt, I appreciate you. We're in for a big year.
Yes, we are. We are going to make an effort, folks, to be, I know I said in the beginning, but now wrapping up. Life just kind of hit both of us in the mouth towards the end of last year. And, it was very hard to cover a bad team. And we're going to make an effort this year, good, bad, or indifferent, to cover your Baltimore Orioles, our birds, all year long. So in the coming days, we will have a schedule announcement to when we will be shooting. Like Tim said, he's going to be at 70 plus home games this year. And I'm not going to be there, but we're going to make it work.
Drag your ass to a few.
Yeah. I don't like being out in the heat, but I digress.
Matt, I got club seats, brother.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
we got
AC.
air conditioning.
I'm there. AC and good food. But we are going to be on your screens more often. We're going to be more present, and we are going to give this new ball club, this newly formulated ball club, new manager, new coaching staff, couple new guys that we covered today. We're going to be on your screens a lot, folks. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for interacting with our first show. Give Tim some, a little bit more love in the comments and all that for his work on the intro, the graphics. It was a great opening show. Birdland, we are looking forward to covering our team, and we will see you guys hopefully next week after opening day.
Matt, where can they find you? We got to get your X-Followers back up, hacked boy.
Yeah, somebody hacked me. I don't know who it was, but mtrigwbp 3547 is where you can find me on X and on Instagram, mtrig89. On Facebook, just type my name in. I'm on there with the AI set of grills. It's an inside joke from the John Harbaugh firing, but I digress. Tim, where can they find you, dog?
Foul ball talk, causing a scene, being a menace. All day, every day. All right, guys. We'll catch you soon. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, yeah. The jig is up. Yeah. I came too far, I ain't giving up. Hey, I had to cut what was weighing me down. And then when you grow, they say that you switching up here to perimeter. Defending the fort, we crushing the visitors. I got it locked, ain't taking a prisoner. Thought it was sweet until they chin hit with a finisher. Heartbreak, Nikki, I'm voiding the slips. I'm raising the stakes, enjoying the risk. Injecting my veins with ice, as cold as it gets. I live for this shit. Die as a legend, I ride with aggression. I lost in the past, it's fine as a lesson. I'm loading the clips, I fire the weapons and taking what's mine. It's time for redemption. Yeah.